Mike's ready to go on the Fan, New York Sports Radio. Mike's on, Mike's on. He'll get you the sports any way that he can. It's Mike Francesa on the Fan. Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM, WFAN.
From the studios of WFAN, this is Mike's on Francesa on the Fan on this Wednesday, the 6th day of June. As we get a little closer, inch a little closer to the Yankees and Mets on Friday, Belmont Stakes on Saturday, busy sports weekend coming up, Game 3 NBA Finals this evening, the game that Cleveland will try to, this is the game they'll try to lift themselves up with the crowd a little bit tonight and try and drag themselves back into the series. More on that later. We begin, of course, with the Mets, who are playing this afternoon and really showing us a level of futility that is almost hard to fathom. It really is. The Orioles came in playing the worst baseball in all of the major leagues. And last night they beat and they've struggled to score themselves. And last night they beat the Mets 2-1. The Mets get 3 hits. They had gotten 3 hits on Sunday. They got 3 hits yesterday. And today we're in the 8th inning. The Orioles have a man on second and 1 out in the 8th. And it is scoreless, where the Mets have already wasted a wonderful performance by Wheeler, and that's the one thing you'll take as a positive. But also, remember, it's against an Oriole team that has, you heard Buck say it earlier this week, other than Manny Machado, they have struggled to do anything offensively this year. They have guys like Davis having just incredibly bad years, hitting 150, making $23 million. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's hard to, you talk about a bad contract. But the Mets, the level of anemic offense we are seeing from the Mets is almost hard to fathom. It is, they don't even hit the ball hard. I mean, they just roll it over to second or pop it up. They went 18 outs without getting the ball out of the infield. I mean, it is unbelievable what we're looking at with this team. Last inning, they had the bases loaded after a double by Plawecki and a couple of walks, and then 3 straight 3 pitches and Rosario was down. Now Familia on against the Orioles. And if the Orioles can come in here having, basically won 8 games before this trip. Now, they had won in New York earlier this year because they had actually won in New York to start the season. But other than that, they had been an incredibly bad road team, an incredibly bad team, and they could have the Mets in a position where the Mets not only don't score, the Mets go into the Yankee series, and now we have a base hit, so we're going to see if we have a play at the plate. No, they hold them up at third. So right now the Mets are about to give up a run here in the 8th, and they could wind up starting this series with the Yankees this weekend, with 6 straight losses, having just collapsed in every possible way. And the only thing you could say about that series is, number one, that you never know what happens in these series. Sometimes, you get a little bit of surprise. And number 2, the Mets are at least going to line up good pitching in the series with DeGrom in Game 1, Syndergaard in Game 3, Matz in between. You have a Severino Syndergaard on Sunday night for the Nation, which is a nice matchup to see. And maybe, possibly, they might get Cespedes back for the series, and none too soon. I mean, if Cespedes has a heart and he's watching this, he has to crawl out onto the field on Friday. I'm sorry. I mean, it's got to that point where you have to do something for your team. I mean, when you're going this badly, when you can't even generate any... the Mets have guys in the middle of their lineup this year who have not hit a home run at home all year. All year. I mean, it's unbelievable how bad it is. And it's amazing how little offense they have been able to produce, and it doesn't even matter the level of the opponent. And now, obviously, Familia's got himself, after an error to start, what should have been an error to start the inning, and then a base hit, he's got himself into the stew here at first and third, 1 out, and Machado just hit a sac fly. So the Orioles are going to take the lead. They do take the lead, so we'll see if the Mets can even muster a run against the Oriole bullpen in the last couple of innings here, as the Orioles are about to just increase the Met embarrassment by a lot in the last couple of days. I mean, this is how bad it has gotten. I mean, we're looking for rock bottom. You can't even find it with what's going on with this offense right now. Then the only thing you could say is that they have gotten very good starting pitching over the last couple of weeks. If you're looking for a silver lining, that is it. They have gotten that, but their bullpen never comes up with any clutch performance. Whenever it has to hold something, it can't, and usually it implodes. Now, again, like I said, Familia deserved better in this inning. He's really only given up one hit, and he just gave up to a great hitter. He just gave up a sac fly, which is, not a big deal, but they are now down a run, and one run looks like Everest right now, and it might be 3. Is this out of the park? Or no, it's in the park. It's in the park. Okay, so he hit one to the track. So now at least it's 1-0 as the Mets have the top of the order up. Going to the bottom of the 8th, they have 3 hits. So now you're talking about 3 straight games where they have 3 hits. They had 3 hits on Sunday. They had 3 hits yesterday. They have 3 hits today. 9 hits in 3 games against, it's just hard to fathom. And they could be looking at 6 straight losses and 10 and 12 games as they get ready for the Yankee series, the way things are shaping up right now. The Yankees winners last night. Obviously, now all the talk is about pitching with them and what's going to, what the future holds. We're going to have to wait and let this thing play itself out. That's all. I mean, there's nothing else you can do right now. This weekend, it will be Tanaka against DeGrom. It'll be Gray today. First against Toronto. Then it will be Tanaka. They both have the day off tomorrow. It will be Tanaka against DeGrom. It'll be Germán against Mats. And then it will be Severino against Syndergaard. All night games, all under the lights, Saturday night, Sunday night. That's where we're looking at. You got a 7:10, a 7:15, and an 8:05 for the 3 games. And then the Yankees will welcome in Washington, and the Mets will go on what will be a tough, not that there are any easy ones, tough road trip, and one that if the Yankees, lay any damage to them this weekend, 2 out of 3, or sweep them, I mean, this could turn into just something, that you don't want to see at this part of the season. The season could be over in the next 2 weeks. I mean, that's how bad things have gotten for this team, and it's hard to even remember when this team started the season the way it did. And if it hadn't, I mean, the season would be over now. I mean, they would be so far under 500 now, there wouldn't even be anything to talk about. As it is, remember when Washington was way behind them? Look where Washington is now. Washington is now about to take over first place, has moved 10 games over 500, and the class rises to the top. That is the difference. As we see Familia, who does not like, let's be honest, does not like his role. 2 guys in that bullpen, who were the 2 guys who were the most dependable guys in that bullpen going into the season. Blevins, for what his role was, and Familia do not like how they've been handled by the new manager. That is very obvious, and you could just see many times the disgust on Familia's face. This is not what he signed up for. This is not what he expects. He has been used. He has been treated completely differently, and he just gave up a run. And like I said, started off with a ball that should have been played, and then a single, and then a sac fly. They're in the Oriole pen with 2 innings to go, and we'll see if the Mets can muster anything. Nimmo against the lefty is not what you're looking for, and he has gone into an enormous tailspin the last couple of days. His batting average is down. He has gone way down, and his numbers against lefties this year are incredibly bad, and for his career are incredibly bad. So before you think about him being an everyday player, you have to think about him just being at least somewhat consistent against lefties, which he has not been at all. So the Mets, who have done nothing, Bruce done nothing, Conforto, nothing. I mean, it's unbelievable. Frazier almost hit a home run. He hit it foul, and it is, after not doing anything last night, but their bats are just so bad. It is unbelievable, as it's almost hard to watch. It's really reached that level where this is a level of futility that it's really just unfathomable to see a team struggle this much to get a run or to produce anything in the way of offense. And this Met team in recent years hit home runs. This team does nothing. This team produces nothing, and they cannot get Cespedes back on the field, though after today there are reports. The two things circulating around the Mets right now are that Cespedes is probably coming back Friday and that Reyes might not be on the team on Friday. So looks like he could be in his final days with the Mets. And let's be honest, he has not flourished in any way as a utility man. Let's just put it nicely. Okay? And he has looked done. He had a good finish last year. He had a bad start and a good finish. This year doesn't look like he's going to have a good finish anyway here because he has not found the role here. And it looks like the management here has run out of patience with him. And again, some of the guys who have been on this team for a while, you can tell there's a little strain there, especially in the back of that pen with what's going on here. So that's where we are with them. Yankees in action tonight. Looking to just keep pace. And again, the Yankee story is going to be the same as we go through the season. You're going to have to wait. There are targets. There are guys you're going to be talking about. Obviously, there are guys at the top of the list. There are guys in the middle. There are going to be guys who move on the list and off the list. You're going to be evaluating anybody who picks up the ball for the Yankees, even in a limited role, to see who can audition to be part of their starting rotation as they get to the dog days of this year and as they head towards the postseason. As Nimmo starts it off with a base hit, a little flare into center field, so he got a hit off a lefty to start off the inning. So we'll see where that takes us. That had to feel good. I think he was like 0 for 100. No, he was really like 0 for 18 or something before he got that base hit. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll open up the phones, talk a little Mets as the Mets try to rally here in the 8th. Back after this.